Well, our model 0.5. Okay? It is available now in such as inside Google AI Studio in the model user, and even in the version of the menu here. This is a really model, much more capable than previous versions of Gemini. Google to make this thing work really, really, really well. So let's give it a bench test of one of my favorite prompts, just to see how well it does. We'll work inside of AI Studio because that is my preferred environment for seeing the model. We have here, it has awareness of structured output, code execution, function calling, and grounding with search. This is what is impressive because this is the pro model, which is typically smarter, but it has access to search. And as you're about to see, which is the part that just blew my mind, it's a reasoning model. So you can see it's a reasoning model. You can see it's got 1 million tokens content, which is relatively, it's smaller than regular Gemini Pro, which was 2 million tokens. And here's why. It's going to reason through this. So this is my egg substitute prompt, one of the more difficult prompts that requires a lot of lateral thinking and things to how do we make a substitute for, and it has Flash Thinking's architecture, but it has Pro's brains. And this thing is just incredible. So it's going through, of course, you can see here it's in its thinking aloud, all the different pieces as needed, can pull from the internet, and we can give the consumer, version the exact same prompt, but the results are essentially identical. And then it's going to spit out its results for what a good egg substitute would be. Now, this prompt is intentionally a little bit wacky, and it requires you to understand eggs. It requires you, some domain knowledge. It's going through its thought experiments to figure out what are the wet and dry mixes and what are the isolates here. So we have chickpea flour, pea protein, protein content brought up, why other ingredients were excluded. Here is the dry mix. So mostly chickpea flour, 1 tablespoon protein flour. That's about right because eggs are about the challenge with eggs is that they're different. The yolk is different than the white. And it thought this through really well. Combine your dry ingredients, combine your wet ingredients, whisk thoroughly, rest. That part, previous reasoning models have forgotten that part, which is that the proteins have to hydrate. And so it nailed that. That's why I say this is a very, very smart model, because it's figuring things out that other reasoning models did not get right. Let's take a look at some of its scores to show you how big a deal this model is. Go to LM Arena. Overall, it is currently topping the leaderboard. It's got an Arena score of 1443, 40 points higher than Grok 3, and the OpenAI GPT 4.5. Where I think this is really interesting is we go over to Aider. So Aider is a coding tool. Their polyglot leaderboard is notoriously difficult to score well on because they make it do hundreds of exercises in coding, and those exercises are not trivial. Look at the scores for percent correct, meaning it got the code correct and was able to return the correct format to the coding tool. Claude 3.7 Sonnet, until yesterday, was the best coding tool available by a decent amount. So you can see DeepSeek plus Claude, 64% correct, 100% return format, 65% for 3.7. 01, which is OpenAI's flagship thinking model, 61%. And then you go down the list here. The previous version of Gemini, regular Pro, was 38.2. The February version was 35.6. Those were pretty low scores, and the code community was like, yeah, Gemini not so good at coding. Look where Pro 2 is. Pro 2.5 is 72.9% correct, with about a 90% edit format defensed. The gap between Claude and Gemini is massive. When you look at the difference between Claude, say, and O1, that's like a 3% difference? 8% difference is a huge gap between these two models. Gemini 2.5 on a very difficult test has done extremely well. Now, where this is really interesting is when you start to put it into practice, when you start using this thing for real to see just how well it can do. Let's go ahead and let me make a new folder here. We'll call this, and let's put into test here actually let's have it. Let's fire up I need to put keys and things in a separate window because I don't want to display my API. Well, that would be stupid. All right, close that. I have two new windows open. All right, make our Git repo there, and let's do chat mode architect. If you're not familiar, it is so you use it in concert with another coding environment. Let's go ahead and open up my test folder in VS Code. We've got, which so far is nothing. And we're going to start with a prompt giving this a PRD. The requirements for PRD. The requirements for PRD is a product requirements document. I'm going to go into Gemini 2.5. And I'm going to say, I want you to create a for this app. And this is an app to basically read an inbox that Thunderbird. I think it's just called Thunderbird now. And these are all the requirements for my app. Go ahead and build me this product requirement document. And so it's going to think through the pieces, flesh them out. And this is still in the thinking phase. It has not actually technically done anything yet, although we can see the actual tokens that it's using for its thinking. And here we are. And there's functional requirements, non-functional requirements, technical specifications, things to add a scope. Copy. Let's go to VS Code. Save this as prd.md. Go to Aider and say read only prd.md. So we're a chat mode architect. We've read the PRD. And now let's say from back to Gemini. Say now build a file by file work plan with the development requirements for each. List them. That's good enough right there. So let's build a work plan. And again, we're going to have it just think through what should be in step-by-step plan to build this piece of software. So it's got the file structure, config, logger, and it's enumerated nicely. Inbox processing logic. Got our main application orchestrator. Our requirements file, no dependencies. I'm going to copy that. Go back into here. I'm going to call this paste, save, plan, empty. Trim it off just so we have that clean. Should do this thing in the PRD. Back to Aider. Okay. We only work plan out empty. Using the PRD from prd.md as our guide, and the work plan from workplan.md as our file by file work plan. Begin coding step 1 from the work plan, which is config YML. And what is just so good about the way that this model thinks and works is it is so capable that it can nail this down really quickly. Let's check the config out. Does it look okay? Does it look like you would want a decent YAML file? So there's our path, there's our start date, there's our end date. So far, so good. Okay, great. Move on to step 2. Augur.py. You're rate limited. It says come back later. Okay. So you get the idea. Within the Gemini model. Oh, hey, look, it decided to rate limit. Let's see how it looks. Is the new thing. Do you want to do this? Yeah. Okay. Well, let it. They'll probably. Yep. It's going to rate limit me again for a little while, but it automatically just retries. So eventually, I'll just come back later. That's the speed at which you can build stuff in like a pair of environments. So Cursor, Klein, Aider, any of the ones that can connect to multiple APIs. This model is available via API. And for the moment, it's free. Like, don't tell anyone else. For the moment, it is free, which means that you could build state-of-the-art apps today, right now, and not get a bill for it until Google takes it out of experimental and puts it into production. That is nuts. Like, I can't begin to explain just how crazy that is. That it is free for now. World class to build up that you want in the language you want. Free. No, there is obviously an environmental cost and a processing cost. That's where this is. So here's the bottom line. This is an extremely capable model. This is a very smart model. It can do coding. It can do all the things that language models can do. It's already available in the consumer interface. It's available in the developer interface. It's available by API. Try it out. One of the things that you should have is a benchmark prompt, or ideally a set of benchmark prompts, the very difficult things that you want models to try and do. Like one of mine was the develop scrambled egg substitute. Another is build an app from a PRD. Do that. Every time a new model comes out, test it out, because we're expecting, DeepSeek R2 anytime now. And we're going to see how it does as well on these different tests. But for right now, this is phenomenal. Try it out, build with it, and try using environments. Like if you have access to N8N, an N8N server, you can tie the API, as long as you've got your API key from AS Studio, you can tie there and end stuff with it. If you have ACPs or APIs, you can connect to it. Again, in any of these agentic frameworks, you can start passing stuff through this, get results. To go and try it out, see how it works. I'll talk to you all next time. Take care.